And away we go. It's just me right now. Eric said he will join eventually. He's at the train station heading home, and he will join once he does a ride back home. And yeah, let's just jump right into the news. An ex-Harvard medical student, morgue manager, admits his role in the theft of human remains. Dang, that's crazy. Cedric Lodge, former manager of Harvard Medical School's morgue, pleaded guilty to trafficking stolen human body parts. Lodge admitted to taking human remains from the morgue from 2018 to at least March 2020. Harvard Medical School leaders described the case as morally reprehensible. Morally reprehensible and an abhorrent betrayal. Many remains were sold for profit, including to Jeremy, who pleaded guilty to related charges. What I want to know is, what are people doing with body parts? What's the use? What profit is to be made from such body parts? So even then, why can't just people who are no longer alive just in peace? Why can't just let people be? There's always going to be someone doing crazy stuff. And there you go. It's something so sad. Sales of viral plush toy Labubu halted in UK stores after reports of brawls. Pop Mart suspended all in-store and robotic vending sales of Labubu plush toys across the UK on May 19th due to safety concerns as its flagship locations and robotic stores. The suspension followed escalating crowd issues, including long queues, staff threats, fights, and tensions driven by limited availability and viral online hype. Labubu, a rabbit-like monster toy endorsed by celebrities Rihanna and Dua Lipa, has sparked global demand, causing chaotic scenes and reports of thefts and assaults internationally. Pop Mart confirmed customers queued for hours, with some engaging in shouting and fighting, stating online sales will continue while developing a fairer distribution model. A pause aims to protect customers and staff safety, though experts warned it could increase resales prices and online demand when the toys return to stores in June. So, at first, I don't know what Labubu was, and just hearing that there was endorsements by celebrities, it kind of makes sense. It's not fully answering the question, but knowing that there are big name celebrities involved in this is at least one of the contributing factors to why there are a handful of people going wild for a plush toy. However, I do know that a lot of people look up to very big and very notable people. Singers, actors, motivational speakers. What else? Sports stars, of course. And any big name individual that gives support to anything, of course their supporters are going to go for it. They'll do what they can to get their hands on it. Not because of what the value of the product is or what the company in question is all about, but it's all because that one of their favorite celebrities or athletes say they like this product or service. Therefore, their supporters should too. That is not a good way that is not a good way to discover new products that provide goods or services. Because if you take if you take suggestions from notable celebrities or sports stars, then begs the question, if you're a business wanting to promote something, if you don't get big name stars to promote your product, how are you going to promote your product? Because if that's how products and services are going to be promoted, then any other method is absolutely useless. But thankfully, that's not the case. You don't need celebrities or sports stars to endorse your product or business. You just got to have it stand out and showcase the best of its qualities that will convince people to actually go for it instead of relying on whatever their fan base is. It's not just lazy. Okay, maybe there's a little more effort to even get the attention of celebrities and sports stars to begin with. But even if they do get their attention, I just see this as I don't see it as a manipulative. I just see it as very, very unfortunate. Because if that's how, and if this is what it takes to get the word out for your business, having a celebrity or sports star to say, "Hey, I like this business. You should go buy their stuff." Then every business are going to be starting doing it. They're going to look for big name stars to say they like their products. But what if they don't? What if celebrities and sports stars looking to the business itself and say, "Oh, this is awful. Don't just steer clear from it at all times." That's even worse. That is much worse. You're better off not approaching celebrities than to have them talk crap about your business. Because if you know that if celebrities like the business and their fans will go and buy their products, imagine the effects the business would have if a celebrity says don't buy the products. It's absolutely awful and the service is terrible. Anything else along those lines is an absolute disaster. Or at least how people view life, society, and how we live in today's world. It's just that's in most parts around the world, people don't care what big name stars, celebrities, or athletes think or say. Because at the end of the day, before they were even famous to begin with, they were like you at one point. Just a member of the public, just contributing to society like we always do. And by the time they got their fame, everything changed for them. So no matter what, although it is great to have someone's input on goods and services, wherever they may be, do not take their word and only their word for granted. Because you never know if you actually get your hands on such services or products, you will learn the hard way that it's not as good as you think it would be, just because you hear someone say so. Do not rely on such opinions or input, or at least only that input, because it's not enough. It should never be enough at all. 9 disasters Grey's Anatomy hasn't done yet. The finale of Grey's Anatomy season 21 in 2025 featured a massive operating room explosion that endangered several Grey Sloan surgeons in Seattle. This event follows the show's history of disasters, including a season 3 hospital explosion, multiple shootings, a ferry crash, floods, and other calamities affecting the hospital or Seattle. Additional hazards tied to the region include the nearby nuclear plant in Richland, active volcanoes like Mount St. Helens, power outages from superstorms, hacker attacks, and the threat of EMP attacks. The show has never depicted true terrorism, but has featured mass shooters and hospital hackers, with possible future disasters including volcano eruptions, cruise ships, cruise ship accidents, and even UFO incidents that could impact Grey Sloan. Wow, 21 seasons already. I never thought that show would even go on for that long. But yeah, here we are. Season 22 arriving in fall 2025. It is expected to continue the tradition of dramatic events, with surviving surgeons from the explosion yet unknown and potential new disasters poised to challenge the hospital staff. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be, well, I'm not sure what the show's going to do next. They did nearly everything they can think of. I wonder what news or what is new that they will do. We'll just have to wait and find out. Although I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, I have heard about the show from many of my friends, and I've got a glimpse of what it's about. and most of the cast. I can't wait to see how Grey's Anatomy goes ahead and moves forward with the new season. It's going to be, well, it's not just going to be exciting, it's going to be interesting because, well, they did a lot of things they could do. So if they do something that no one expects, well, they're breaking the barriers once again. It's going to be mental. Spain proposes 100% tax on non-EU house buyers. Spain's government, led by Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, proposed a 100% tax on non-EU residents buying homes on May 22nd, 2025 in Madrid. The tax aims to address rising housing prices and shortages worsening by foreign speculation and high non-EU property purchases in areas like Madrid and Barcelona. The bill, part of a broader housing plan, also includes measures to regulate tourist flats in Madrid, separating residential zones from holiday rentals to protect local housing. Reports show 86.5% of tourist flats in Madrid lack proper licenses, inflating rental markets, while over 27,000 properties were bought by non-EU residents in 2023. The tax signals a significant policy shift that may ease housing access for locals, but could deter foreign investment and affect Spain's economy recovery. Well, I will say this, so long as people who already live in Spain, or have lived in Spain most of their lives, so long as they get access to the housing that they want to get, that's good enough. For me, it's good enough. Although I'm not against foreigners wanting to get properties in Spain, because, well, who doesn't want to go to Spain? It has beautiful weather, the culture, the history. I mean, Spain is quite the tourist powerhouse, and loads of people want to go there. I don't blame them. However, it is a concern that it is dwindling or outshining the locals that already live in Spain. So seeing something like that, at least initiatives to make home buying easier for locals that already live in Spain to begin with, that's great. Now, hopefully, the same thing can be done for where I am. Because, again, I'm not against people coming here, or foreigners coming over to work or live. However, there is concern about can the same be said for those who already live in the country? That's just me. So, it's nice to see that there is an effort to allow Spanish nationals to get access to affordable housing again, and hopefully it does continue. And it will continue. Just it's not going to be done instantly. It takes time. So it's a start. NASA astronaut to answer questions from students in Washington State. All right, hold on. NASA astronaut Anne McClain will answer pre-recorded questions from students at the Mobius Discovery Center in Spokane on May 27th, 2025. The event arises from McClain's connections to her hometown and the center's effort to engage elementary to high school students regionally in STEM subjects. Students from a variety of schools and non-profit groups, including members of the Kalispel tribe, will participate in an event held at the Mobius Discovery Center, featuring interactive exhibits focused on science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. The event will start at 1:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on May 27th, and media must RSVP to Karen Hudson by May 23rd at 5 p.m. United States Eastern Daylight Time via phone, or email to cover it. This outreach aligns with NASA's Artemis campaign, aims to inspire students towards space exploration careers, while astronauts aboard the ISS conduct long-term research preparing for lunar and Mars missions. Hello, Risk.
Hello.
So I was just reading about a NASA astronaut answering pre-recorded questions from students at the Mobius Discovery Center in Spokane, Seattle.
Pre-recorded questions, huh? There's
Yeah.
nothing in the fly.
The students won't actually be in the room when it happens.
So basically just not anything right on the fly, so quite frankly, so they could stage it.
Well, you put it that way, it does make sense. Like,
No different
there's
than a
no other way of
fucking
putting
Disney
it.
earnings call at that point then. Because everything's pre-scripted on those earnings calls, so it's hilarious.
Yeah, there's no arguing with that.
But you never hear from retail shareholders either, because they never allowed us. We don't even get a say. We get to collect our dividends, but we don't get a fucking say in how the company's really run. But yeah, so what else is new?
Container ship sinks off India's south coast with hazardous cargo.
Mm.
The Liberian
Was that an
flag.
inside job, or was that simply you
Well,
don't think Pakistan might have been involved in that just to piss them off, or China? Who knows?
yeah, who knows?
Supposedly, Angela Rayne is trying to make a freaking play to oust Starmer.
Wow, that's interesting to hear.
Maybe worse. Okay. So what else is there?
Let's see. Dutch museum removes priceless Benin bronzes for return to Nigeria.
Why the fuck would you retire to Nigeria? Nigeria's a fucking failed state.
Well, apparently, a Dutch museum is returning the Benin bronzes to Nigeria, which were looted over 120 years ago.
Who cares? It's there. Who cares? They think that we're going to give back our shit that diluted.
What's
Also,
up,
they
guys?
not much.
All right. Yeah, sorry I'm late. I was on the train, and plus I was talking to my friend about potentially starting something. Potentially,
Okay, cool.
like yeah, like we were talking in church, and he suggested that I just like start a Christian podcast because apparently like I'm good at talking according to like the people I was talking to. So
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a good point.
yeah. So I said, all right, yeah, I'll just do it. So
And you had a podcast at one point, so you know exactly what it's like.
yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I
Just
do.
the pain in the arse part is getting guests.
Yeah, this time I'll actually have a firm niche because before I just didn't have a firm niche.
That's good.
I was just talking about
That's kind of what we're doing here. But
yeah, but yeah. So what's on the
yeah, not much. What were we talking again?
One, a Dutch museum is returning priceless bronze from Benin back to Nigeria.
But my question is Nigeria a safe country? Isn't that still a country that's still developing? It's still got its problems.
Yeah, Nigeria still has some issues, like many countries.
Why the fuck would you return that to them? In my honest opinion,
I always liked the Nigerian accents, man. They sound really good.
I think they're not bad people, but if I'm being honest, I feel like am I the only one that feels that Africa's on the verge of getting recolonized again? You can look
I
back at what they've done over the last 30 years and you question, have they really done anything of note
I think there are people
apart
who
from being
might agree.
failed states?
I think there are people who might agree with you. Yeah, who knows? Maybe there.
I'm not saying that they have to be completely under us, but I'm quite frankly think maybe we should give them a little bit of autonomy. But investing in money is only going to do so much, and you've got corrupt governments. To heck, we're not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, hey, we ultimately have to see what happens. Who knows? Maybe they might not be on the verge of going under. They might come back of some sort, but ultimately time will tell.
I doubt Zimbabwe's going to make a comeback, and I doubt South Africa is because the way they're heading, unless they change to June,
Yeah, with the whole racial thing.
yeah, that's not going to help.
Yeah,
That I can't see many concerning the state of South Africa because it was a promising nation before.
yeah. I'll
I'm
be
starting to
honest.
think that handing that country to Mandela wasn't the right thing to do. South Africa needed reforms, but I don't think Nelson Mandela was the right choice for that. They play him as a hero, but who knows? Is India a prosperous country?
Right now,
Yes. Would you say they have functioning cities?
only two at best, but that is it.
That's not good.
No, it's
Eric, I
not.
doubt America can talk. You've got fucking New York, where someone's a shithole. And San Francisco and California. And Britain can't talk because we've got like fucking what's that one? We've got Rotherham that's effectively full of freaking is basically based. We've got London, we've got Rotherham, we've got a bunch of other we've got a bunch of other ones that are cities that are quite frankly overrun.
So pretty much none of us can talk.
Barely any people can speak English in some of these cities. It's concerning.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
saying that, even some parts of the towns you can't even see people speak English. But
yeah, I'm not gonna
the
lie.
point, but the people that are in there, those Polish, they're fine. They're not going to hurt anybody. They should integrate more, but
yeah,
they're
at my
fine.
job,
They're all right.
at my job, I'm gonna be honest. The majority of people who rent out bikes are immigrants. Some of them are just like visiting, but it's
Have
like
they
most.
integrated at least?
Yeah, I mean, but
As
I'm
long
not.
as they integrate, well, that's all the main thing. I'm
I'm
not
not really.
opposed to people coming for a better life, but they have to integrate. You have to pay the law. You have to speak the language. You have to integrate. You have to adapt to the local culture. If you're not
No,
willing to
yeah.
do that, there's no point in you coming.
Some of them do speak English. Some of them just speak straight
That's
up
good.
Spanish.
At least they do. At least they speak English. Some of them.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's
like some
better
of
than
them speak.
nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them just speak straight up Spanish, and I'm like, yeah, it's like I have to get another guy to talk to them because I can't understand anything.
Spanish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, some of them at least speak a little bit English,
I
or
think
at least
did Trump make English and that the native language of his country, of your country?
what did you say?
Didn't Trump make English the main language in America?
I thought English was always the main language in America.
Wasn't written into law. It was
Yeah,
always,
yeah,
but it wasn't written into law.
Trump signing an executive order making English the official language of the United States. Before that, for even out since independence, it was not an official language.
Even I think that Britain needs to do that as well, if I'm being fair. Like, it's fucking obvious to any fucking idiot outside the rocks, but it needs to be said. English needs to be the main language in the UK. Yes, they can speak Welsh, they can have a second language like Welsh, we can teach that in schools. Heck, I'm willing to, in parts of Scotland, I'm willing to even allow them to learn Polish in certain parts of the school. Because I know for a fact the Poles are good people, they've integrated. I'm willing to allow them to learn. I'm willing to make that second language in this country, at least in Scotland, parts of Scotland.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I'll be honest. I think it would be a good idea if people just learn at least had one second language under their belt. I think that's a good idea. Like first
No,
being
but
English, second being
well,
another language.
it's a good way for people to integrate, I would say. But we also need to prioritise teaching the elderly to speak English as well, not just the kids. So that's what we do in Britain. We only teach the kids, never the elderly.
Well, I mean, I think there's a reason for that. It's because like the kids are like, the future. That's probably why. But I get what you're
Yes,
saying.
but they need to. Yes, teaching the kids as well is good, but they need to integrate them. Because when
That's
you've
true.
got mommy and daddy speaking Spanish or Polish, and you got the kid learning English, it doesn't. It just creates a fucked up atmosphere where they. Am I English or am I freaking Spanish or Polish?
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, if you're elderly and you already have like your established language, I would just let it slide only because you're elderly. But if you're like in your like 40s or 50s, then yeah, you need to learn a second
Or even younger. Yeah.
or even or like somewhere between 20, somewhere between like your teenage years or like when you're young to like 50 or 60, best. Yeah, if you're like an elderly senior citizen, I think it's just best to like let them slide because it's like you lived a long time, so I don't think they would want to learn a second language. Yeah, but the
Eric,
rest,
Eric, you also got to realise a lot of the Western countries in Europe, they know English.
what'd you say?
A lot of the Western countries in Europe know English. We're talking French, we're talking Spanish, we're talking Portuguese, we're talking Austrian, we're talking Hungary. There's more people in Belgium, Switzerland, and Sweden. There are some very proponent English speakers in those countries.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Quite
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah. Very predominant English-speaking countries, and the Dutch are Dutch and Belgium are very good at English.
Oh yeah, they're very good.
They're very good.
Are they better than most Americans?
Surprisingly, yes.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
But people say Indians are not good at English. They're very good at it as well. They just forgot it for a couple of years.
Yeah,
Do you think English will ever come? Do you think Do you think we'll all merge into only having one language?
I can see that being a possibility, but I don't see that coming remotely close. It's not close. It's definitely far in the future.
It's maybe soon, maybe at least a couple languages that everyone is by default having to at least speak when talking across borders.
If you want to do trade with Britain or America, Australia or Canada, or even Singapore, you're going to have to speak English.
Yeah,
Even Singapore speaks it. English is the international. There's a thing that will not knock. That won't. There's certain things that will not knock the English speaking language out of the freaking theme park. Right? You've got English is the international language of finance and business. It is also the international language of contract law, which is another thing that we put in place decades ago. But yeah, everybody's still there.
I'm still there.
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
still here. I'm just waiting.
Contract law. Do you think we'll ever see a united? Do you think we'll ever see a United States that has big holdings in Europe?
Possibly.
Not in my decade.
Not now, and not this decade.
Yeah, not
Next decade.
We'll probably be dead by the time, or just really old. Who knows?
Well, you might be alive. Me and him might not be. If things don't change in the next 20 years.
You guys aren't that older than me. I mean, well,
Not by that much, but I'm saying the way the state of this country is heading, we might be on the verge of civil war.
Well,
I don't know how long it'll be, but I can guarantee, I doubt there's people in this country that I can guarantee that won't be putting up with whatever they plan on doing. I don't know when it'll happen, but I can guarantee you they're not going to put up with it.
Oh, I mean, while they're fighting in the civil war,
The thing is,
I'll hopefully be somewhere far away. Wait.
Yeah, you will be. You probably will be.
I'll hopefully be somewhere far away from it. So I
Europe will I wouldn't be surprised if all of Europe's in civil war.
Hey guys, I'm outside and I think they near the laundromat they filled up a pool for their immigrants. So
yeah, it's fine. It's a different world.
This is the first time I'm seeing this. But I guess
has immigration came down since Trump became president in your country, or has it went and gotten worse?
Well, there's still I still see a ton of immigrants out here.
Are they being Are they still flooding them?
Yeah, it seems like it. It doesn't seem like it stopped. I mean, maybe it probably slowed down a bit, but not so much that it has no effect. I still see immigrants out here. But
there's rumors that New York might potentially flip or move more to the right. But I don't. Who knows? Only time will tell. I hope that state can freaking see past the leaves and fix itself.
Yeah,
it's terrible. The state what's happened to California. The state of Ronald Reagan now, travesty.
He'd probably be disappointed now.
Probably, but again, he was I think he. Who knows?
Yeah. I'll be honest. In terms of the immigrants, I'm kind of just learning to get.
As long as they integrate, that's all that matters.
I'm pretty sure some of them still hold on to their native tongue.
They can hold on to that as well, but they've got to realise that literally, if they want the fucking children to adapt and not be seen as outsiders, they'll have to integrate.
That's true.
If not, you'll have to fucking move on or move back. The kids will be treated as outsiders. And I don't think that, and don't get me wrong, I'm happy for everybody to come for a better life, but you're going to have to integrate at some point. You're going to have to get a job, you're going to have to work a job, you're going to have to speak the language, you're going to have to learn the language.
Yeah.
English isn't a hard language to learn. It's not easy, but it's not hard. I would say it's easier to learn English than it is other languages. And that's one thing that the country, the world's been born with. Am I wrong to think that the world would have been better off if the British Empire never fell?
What'd you say?
Am I wrong to think if the British Empire didn't fall, the world would be a better place? Or we just stayed neutral and we didn't enter World War I and II? Africa would be. I think Africa would be a more stable position than what it is now.
I'll be honest. I wouldn't really be able to tell where the world.
None of us would be able to. That's the sad part.
It's the world. The world would still have something wrong with it. So
it would still have something wrong with it.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna say everything would be
I don't think it would be. Everything would change, but
I think certain aspects would change, though. It's not a whole lot.
I think the Commonwealth would be more united than what it really is. Yes, we'd still give them independent federation, but they would still have links and trade ties with Britain. And who knows? Maybe the EU would have joined. EU have never been created.
You're probably right about that. But yeah, is there anything else
So,
in the
Jamie,
news?
do you think the EU will ever collapse?
Jamie?
Yeah.
Will it, though?
Not in the way you think it would.
In what way? Is it going to break itself apart?
Not physically.
Emotionally? Mentally?
Emotionally, mentally, mostly, yeah. The EU is still going to exist for the next few decades, but in terms of the state that the people are in it right now, that's what we have to pay attention to.
Will there
Because
be a lot less people in it? Are you thinking that Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and some of those other states are going to fricking, in Austria, are probably going to break away and form their own thing?
no, it's not going to come to that really soon. I don't think many nations in the EU would want to break away. They'll still want to take advantages of whatever programs the EU has provided. And they're going to still keep using that until eventually they can sustain themselves on their own. And then at that point, do they want to form their own thing? If yes, then a decade or two, they might.
What's in our best interest? US statehood or EU membership?
I think US statehood
I would say the
be
same
the
thing.
direction. Yeah.
Because if we're wanting sovereignty, I think statehood would probably be a better option. I don't think it's perfect. I think there's flaws to it, but at least go. I say go with the devil, than go with the devil you don't. So who the fuck is ruling the EU? Because I know for a fact that none of us have any say in it. Even when we were members, Jamie.
Yeah, we were. And now we're not.
Well, under Stormer's New Deal, it's kind of the lines of are we in it or are we not are a bit blurred. I can't lie.
Well, membership is out of the question. It's not going to happen.
No, but he'll get us back in the line with the EU fucking sphere of influence.
Yeah, maybe
without being a
maybe
membership. So we're basically a part of the EU, but we don't get a fucking say.
Yeah, it could be like in a similar situation like Norway, Iceland, Switzerland, and
So-
Liechtenstein as well.
Is Scotland statehood or UK statehood still off the table? The way things are now, or is there still possibilities that we could be drifting to that?
For now, it's still off the table.
Was that the whole plan for the Brexit? Was to push us closer to them, wasn't it?
Well, the whole point of Brexit was to retain and regain the sovereignty that the UK presumably have, and to no longer be too reliant.
The thing is, though, he's wanting to create the EU's wanting to create a competing defense industry that wants to compete against America.
The question is, how are they wanting to do that?
How are they? You asking why they want to do that, or how they want to do it?
I'm asking, how are they going to go ahead with making their own EU affiliated defense that will compete with the US?
Jamie, parts of the French, the Swedes, and other parts of Spain and Italy, even Germany, Poland, and other parts of the EU, they all have their things that they're good at, right?
Yeah.
Poland's good at freaking making artillery, self-propelling artillery. Spain's good at making freaking defensive things. Switzerland and Sweden and Norway are good at freaking making fighter jets. France is good at making jets. It's good at making tanks. It's good at making other stuff. Britain's good at making tanks. Britain is good at making naval equipment for boats. And quite frankly, yeah, it's good at making boats. It's good at making machine guns. And it's good at making certain components that are needed for certain high-tech components that are needed for military equipment, particularly fighter jet engines and other certain components. Don't get me wrong, it will take a long, long time for them to build for the EU to be able to catch up and become comparable to America. And quite honestly, if they really want to do this, they will have to cut back on the welfare spending. And I can't see their citizens putting up with that.
I think so.
No.
They will lose it. Mostly.
That, and because America was so smart in you guys, Eric, were so smart in what you were doing, right? You've made us break ourselves up into certain roles, right? Which meant that we would never be able to form a true military, which is quite fucking military genius, by the way. Like, what America did there is hilarious. What Britain should do is partner with America. We should go all in Instead of doing petty deals with the EU, we should sign comprehensive defensive agreements with America, and we should help co-develop new weapons, new machine guns, new auxiliary tanks. We should go into partnership and build new defensive weapons. Have you heard about America's new Golden Dome? I think Britain should get involved in that as well.
Yeah, I've heard something about that
The
at
Golden
some point
Dome. I
today.
think we should get involved in that as well. Imagine a dome, satellite protection that could stop people from getting hit.
That would sound promising.
Yes, Canada only wants in. Why don't we sign a deal with America to get in on that deal? Sounds great. We'll share the technology. We'll help develop it, and we'll pay the money. I'd rather devote money to defence and literally what we're spending. So, who's the next president of the new next PM of the UK?
Yeah.
Does Labour still get in? Do they get removed?
Well,
is it a new party?
It's tricky at the moment because although Labour still has majority in Parliament, there are polls saying that Reform UK could get enough seats to then become the next government. However, it is far too soon to say, will it be enough seats for Reform to gain to even be the next government? So it's too early to say, but I feel like, as it goes right now, Reform could have a chance to form the next government for the next general election.
Heck, I would rather do a fucking deal with the Tories. If it comes to it, I'd do a deal. I think we should do a deal with the Tories. Like, do a pact deal with the Tories, right? If it comes to it. Simply just to keep us.
I think they would have to. Yeah, I think they would have to.
We'll have to. Because the country cannot stand with them bastards in. I think even they realise that, right? Heck, I'm willing to do pact deals with Lib Dems if it comes to it. I'm willing to do pact deals with the SNP if it comes to it, to a certain point of view in Scotland. So what else is there?
Yeah, let's see what I can do.
So what job would Angela Rayner have if she wasn't an MP?
Huh. I never thought of it that way.
Does this guy basically saying she'd be a prosy?
What's her accolades other than being an MP?
Not anything. The only test that she actually completed was a freaking high school test. The rest you failed. So she basically only got in because she was a union muncher. She basically sucked off the unions. That's how she got her position.
So just like
she didn't work because she wasn't one of those MPs that actually pulled her weight. She only got a position because she was basically willing to sell herself out for every vote.
So just like Kamala Harris in a way, like get a position.
Suppose in a way, yes.
Yeah.
Why is nobody talking about the fact that all the freebies at Keir Starmer too?
Yeah, I don't know.
And also, why is nobody talking about Great British Energy anymore, Jamie?
Well, you never know what they're cooking up.
And why are we all just letting Ed Miliband fucking shaft us with the freaking?
Well, if people don't talk about it, there's nothing to complain about. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Valentina Gomez said Muslims are coming to take over the USA and called for Islam not to exist in America. I agree.
You know what? I will say this: if the Muslims to come, fine, but I would just want them to convert to Christ.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
I know. And
they're welcome here, as long as they realize that you can practice your religion, you can practice your faith.
I wouldn't force
But the only fucking laws that will matter in this fucking state, and for the rest of perpetuity, consumer non gratum, are the laws of America. If you don't like them, bugger off to the Middle East with your own kind. You are right. As in America, you are rightfully allowed to freaking. You should be allowed to freaking practice your religious beliefs.
I've seen more Muslims this year than I have recent years.
Because they've been pushing them. And the question is it the people? Which ones is it? Is it the ones that actually want to integrate? The ones that actually want to embrace Western culture? Or is it the ones that, quite frankly, are basically the ones like... You got a question. Which ones are they? Are they ones like Saudi Arabia in Dubai? That want to embrace Western values and actually want to make, and like Turkey, and actually want to basically coexist? Or is it, quite frankly, the ones in Iran or Iraq or Libya?
I would say, pay attention. I'll be honest. If you see a Western dressed Muslim, then I don't think you have anything to worry about. But I would say pay
Yeah, I don't
attention.
think you would either.
I would say pay attention to the ones who are like in full-fledged Punjabi.
And the ones that are quite frankly speaking, doing the preaching, they're the
Yeah.
ones you need to worry about.
Yeah, but like the Western dress ones, they clearly
Western
embrace.
dressed ones, the ones that are actually just trying to integrate, the ones that actually want to do their job.
Yeah, they've embraced the West. They're wearing pants. They're still wearing their headscarf thing, but like other than that, they look pretty much dressed like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I would say like they you don't have to worry about that. But aren't you the ones who still
Are
not get?
unions a good thing, Jamie?
There's a grey area. On one hand, when they first started, it was to give an understanding for what workers need. But on the other hand, recent
Now they're just
days,
using it to shaft people.
that's the point I'm making. On the other hand, in recent times, I think
The whole
people
carry
in
on when they don't
unions,
get their way.
I think from how I see it, if you're part of a union and the union says we have to go on strike because we demand a higher wage, they'll stop working, they'll protest outside until they get the higher wage that they want.
Which will lead to job layoffs or cut hours. Quite frankly, it will lead to job layoffs, cut hours, shorten the amount of staff, and quite honestly, it might even lead to them exiting, leading to them going under. Because at a certain point, the company has to make money as well, so they can afford to keep people.
Yeah, and even as many active working days of the year, there still has to be some goods and services provided to the people and its consumers.
I feel like when it comes to stuff like that, starts off with good intentions, but then it just gets corrupted as time goes on. Some stuff remain the same. Most stuff changes for the better and for the worse. It gets corrupted, as time. So you know, it really just depends on who's doing it, I suppose, and where their moral compass is at. Like I said.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm watching a tweet where people are debating should the two-child cap be taken off. I don't think it should be taken off because, quite frankly, as much as we want to think it, they're just going to use it as a way. It means if we get rid of the two-child cap, it means that we're basically going to be funding our own suicide. In a certain point of view, because the Muslims and them are going to benefit more from that than what we would,
How so?
because they intendedly outbreed. They tend to have like 4 or 5 children, and they don't work.
So immigrants have higher fertility.
Yes.
Ironically, there are people who saying that's why they're the fastest growing religion because they believe.
Well, all they do is fuck. Like how I'm sorry, but when you've got people that have worked, you got families that are struggling, right, and have to fucking work to provide for themselves, right? How the fuck do they have the time?
Well, they're just starting. Man.
Like, no, I know they're not working. They're literally on benefits. Well, they're doing nothing. We're picking up the tab, and quite frankly, we can't keep up. How can we compete with that when literally all they do is freaking they basically live off our dime and then they fuck? How
Hey
can we
man,
compete with that?
they're horny individuals, man. I really know.
Horny individuals, and we can't compete with that because we're working, providing for ourselves. Yeah, they get everything handed for free.
We can't compete with that. That's probably why that's probably why they have the time to fool around, bro. Because like they getting benefits, so it's like there's free time. They're like, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. And they have a bunch of kids.
Do you think? Did you
I
supposedly?
have that time to fool around with my significant other and have as many children as I can on your side.
Do you think Biden was there in his entire presidency? You don't think the people that were in his cabinet were actually running the show were not exploiting pardings for financial and political gain? Because there's supposedly a lawsuit that's exposing that
You
they
think they're
did do
gonna?
that.
You think they're
And
gonna use
leakers.
the whole? You think they're gonna use the whole cancer thing to get to have a reason to
Oh
kill them
yeah,
all?
fucking yes, they will. Those sad fucks will do that. They're that fucking evil.
Yeah, it's like people were saying Biden has always been dead. He's been dead for years. But yeah,
Mentally.
yeah, he's mentally. So I feel like they're gonna use this as a reason, just completely just kill him off, write him off. But what do I know? It's just my opinion.
Oh, that's just sad.
Angelina, speaking on today on the government lifting the two-child benefit cap, I believe we should incentivize people to have more children. However, the view is that most newcomers have large families, often with 8 children, while many of our citizens barely have 2.
Hey man, I want to try to have
It certainly wouldn't incentivize me to have children, but I'd bet there's a whole lot of breeders who would do it for the money and wouldn't be the best in the best interest of children, and they wouldn't be the best parents. The story I hear drug and drink addict parents leaving kids to fend for themselves is unreal. Or withdrawals, I question people who'd be incentivized by a few hundred extra pounds, and that'll be a lot.
You know what? Imagine if people legitimately got paid to just breed and have children.
That's effectively what the Muslims are getting. They get free handouts every month.
Yeah, it's like you're
At
getting
least in the UK. They get free driving lessons.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah. Yeah. In certain Labour districts, free driving lessons.
Alright, bro.
Free bus pass.
Free bus passes.
Yes.
Bro, that is,
Under 21s, free bus passes in Scotland. It's fucking ridiculous, man.
That
It
is-
really is.
that's ridiculous.
They take the piss.
That is ridiculous.
As much as you think, Eric, I'll tell you a secret. Where I live, we are in the same situation as you, right? I live outside of a city that is basically got a 200k population, right? The rural areas at most probably have maybe 13,000, maybe 14,000 at best, if combined, maybe 50,000 at best. We can't outvote them. We get a couple MPs in, right, that in our party from our political party, right? But we don't have the votes. We're like you. We're like upstate New York. We don't have enough votes. We'll always be shattered by them. We're like Alberta, effectively. We can't win politically because they'll always outvote us. That's the problem with voting, because even if you don't have enough votes, you're basically going to be outvoted. But that's the problems of voting. Because if you live in a neighbourhood where basically a city that's basically ultra liberal, and you don't have that big much of a in the presence outside the countryside, the rural areas aren't that big, you can't exactly win. Not to mention the gerrymandering as well can't help.
Yeah, just can't win.
So do you think Jamie, do you think your next do you think Manchester is going to have any high chance of switching to reform?
There are a couple of constituencies in Greater Manchester, if in the next general election, most of them could likely switch to reform.
How many MPs are in Manchester? Is it a couple, or is it just one or two?
There's certainly more than two across Greater Manchester. There's at least three in my
Do you think
borough.
there's a chance that you could flip? Do you think there's a chance they could flip at least one of those seats? That'd be amazing.
I'm certain there is a chance for one of the Greater Manchester constituencies to
bloody
flip to
start.
reform.
It's a bloody start. I think there's a chance that one of the cities, one of the MPs in our bit can probably switch as well, flip as well. We've already got a shitload of councillors where we live, where we're at as well. A lot of local councillors are moving to reform where we are. Whether it's a good thing or not is the question, but who knows? Time will tell.
Yeah, what else?
I hope they do well. I think they'll do well.
Probably, most likely.
So, what seats do you think What seats do you actually think they'll be able to take?
So, I'll have to check on Nowcast because they do a good job at that.
I know they'll take a lot of East Anglia. I know for a fact they'll take big swabs of that, and the north. They'll probably take big swabs of Tory heartlands and Labour heartlands. But I wouldn't be surprised if they take big seats in Kent. Yeah, they're definitely taking seats in Kent.
So a lot of constituencies in Greater Manchester, in the north of Greater Manchester, Nowcast are saying they're likely to flip towards reform. A lot of them.
Not all of them, but there'll be some.
Not all of them. Only boroughs in Trafford, Stockport, and a couple of constituencies in the city of Manchester.
Do you think they'll take Wrexham in the next election against the Wales elections? Because Wales has always tenderly been Labour.
Yeah, I think it is possible actually.
I think
Wrexham is saying. Yeah, Nowcast is saying that Wrexham is likely to get a reform gain, a tilt.
Good. Do you think there's a chance we could get a seat in London?
Oh, they're getting at least 2 MP seats from Greater London.
What areas?
Let me just zoom in. So we have the. Why is my phone so slow? Crike.
What about the city? What about the seat from the city? City of London. Will they get that one as well?
No, not the City of London. I think that would most likely go Tory.
Again. So how much seats will the Tories likely have after this next election?
less than 100.
Do they have a high chance of taking Suffolk or Lancaster? Or are they still going to...
I think that they could. They might get at best an inch close, but it won't be enough.
What about Essex? Wasn't that a seat that massively flipped to Labour earlier in the thing, but was mainly Tory? And they have been doing, I think they were doing... You know the seat that they just won, right?
Yeah, Runcorn and Helsley.
Do you think they could take more seats from there? How many MP seats are there in that one? And how many do you think we could take from there?
Let's see.
Wait, does this mean we'll be able to take seats in Northern Ireland? Or is it just Wales, Scotland, and England?
I think it's just in Wales, Scotland, and England. Northern Ireland's got their own system going on in case Good Friday Agreement executes.
Do you think they'll ever will?
Not now. But it's still on the table, but I don't think they want to at the moment.
I don't think I would either. You've seen the state of Ireland. I don't think Republic of Ireland truly, really wants them either. Because it costs them too much. Plus, I don't really want to lose any more cities. So what other seats do you think we've got a high chance of taking?
Well, Reform has a chance of taking Thirsk and Malden.
Is that in Helsby?
No, that's somewhere in northeast England.
Cornwall? Any chance of taking seats there?
Goes to
Or Devon?
It's either Reform or Lib Dems, somewhere around Cornwall, Devon areas.
Sounds about right. Is the Uni Party just switching to Labour and Lib Dem and Reform? It kind of just feel like that.
It's debatable.
Have they just won any new seat?
In terms of Westminster parliamentary by-elections,
Is there any more? When's the next by-elections?
I'm not sure about any confirmed Westminster by-elections, but I've heard that there have been a couple of local by-elections where Reform have won councillors.
They're still at 600, right? Or are they more?
I think it's more than 600, because even after this year's local elections a couple of weeks ago, there's still at least a couple Reform councillors gaining in local by-elections.
Do they have a high chance of taking seats in Leicester? Or is that Lib Dem and Labour?
I think that's a highly contested area. It could have been any party. It could be Labour, Lib Dem, Tories.
So what else is there
That's a good question.
in the news? Let me see if I can find something. What is George Floyd trending? Again.
An Oregon man who quit his job to set sail with his cat arrives to cheering fans in Hawaii.
Interesting.
Don't blame him.
An Oregon man who quit his job at a tire company and liquidated his retirement savings to set sail for Hawaii with his cat, Phoenix, reached his destination Saturday, welcomed by cheering fans at the end of a
Is this a
weeks-long
good
journey.
thing or a bad thing?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
Hold on. I'm sorry. With his cat Phoenix, it's crazy.
Yes.
Where's your wife?
Probably
Where's
one
his
of
wife?
those liberals. Or maybe she passed away.
Yeah, if he passed away, that's okay. That's one thing. With his cat?
Well, we're not talking. We don't know his age for all we know. He could be like 60 or 50.
Yeah, how old is he? Maybe his
I'm
wife.
looking now. Well, he said something about his retirement plan, so I assume he's past the age of being in the workforce.
Okay.
Is he American?
I'm guessing he's from Oregon. So yes.
Okay, so is working age? Is it all the same in every state, or is it different by each state? Like the retirement age.
I think different states in the US have different definitions or ranges of what is determined as an age for working, ages for retirement.
I wasn't sure if that was just federally or is that state-wise. Who knows?
I think states could determine for themselves if they want to, but if not, it comes down to what the federal government says, what they say it is.
New for the first time, house builders will have to commit to delivery timeframes before they get planning permission. Getting the homes we need built faster. Dude, you want the houses to be fucking standable and actually go for the proper rigorous testing. You don't want them to be fucking half built and half baked fucking houses that, quite frankly, won't stand the test of time. Will probably not last more than 20 years. I'm not sure this is a good idea. Rushing housing.
Only time will tell if it's a good idea or not.
Only time will tell, yeah, but some of you don't really want to rush. I'm all for freaking making it easier to build a house, right? But proper procedures.
Yeah, that's true.
Proper time frame, because if not, you're just going to get fucking shacks that'll break in freaking 20 years. That's what China did years ago. They wanted to spur on development, so they made cheap houses, right? Houses that'll be basically low flat trawlers that'll never actually be able to sell for anything, and quite honestly will probably decompose by the end of the fucking next 100 years. That's the thing. None of them want to build anything that'll last for 100 years plus. We used to build so many Victorian houses that still stand to this day. I can't say that many of the flats that we have out that we built will last more than 100 to 200 years.
Hey, Risk and Jame, your favorite political candidate, former political candidate is trending.
Who?
Who?
Trump?
No, even
Kamala?
better. The man, the myth, the
no.
legend,
Don't say
Joseph
it.
R. Biden.
Tim Walz.
Oh, bugger off.
Like, Jamie, what do you think the odds that Matt Gaetz runs for fricking governor of Florida? I think he'd be an interesting governor.
Yeah.
Just,
I think he might have a chance, but it won't be easy, but he does have a
well,
chance, firstly.
like, fuck, we all know Ron DeSantis ain't running for fucking president.
No, I think it's over.
Yeah,
for
DeSantis' time is over.
Yeah,
He can run for the fucking Senate if he really wants to, but
that's about it.
Now that I'm looking at Tim Walz and I'm seeing his hair, why do some people keep their hair? Like, even when the hairline is fully receded. Why do
he's
some
not
people?
exactly broke, Eric. He could possibly get a fucking hair transplant if he's that fucking desperate, just like Musk.
Yeah. And even if it's genetics that's the reason for your hair loss, there are
Why are
ways.
these
When did Musk start losing his hair?
early 2000s?
Oh, dang. Way before I was.
There was image of him basically early 2000s in an interview, and this is basically when he first there's a video of him first receiving his McLaren F. I think it was a P1. It was like,
Yeah, back in his PayPal days.
PayPal days. Those days, man.
Yeah, they were
Right.
something.
So he was like,
How well do you think Angela Rayner would do as a potential prime minister, Jamie?
So wait, Elon Musk was like in his early 30s and the early 2000s.
He made his money in the .com bubble, by the way. He made his money through PayPal, and then over time he invested in Tesla, Solar City, which Tesla eventually acquired, and he founded SpaceX in 2000.
Oh yeah, I see the photo of his receding hairline.
It's fucking terrible, his hairline. People used to. There's insider jokes that he basically got a fucking hair extensions. He basically got a freaking new trim because, right? There's rumours that freaking Bezos at one point freaking got a new trim, but then he eventually just decided to go bald.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's just easier that way.
Me
It
personally,
is. He has the balls to admit, well, fuck it. If my hair's going to fucking go, I'm just gonna freaking shave it. I'll be the bald wonder.
if I was able to like grow a beard to kind of just make up for that I would do so.
He probably would. He kind of looked like Lex Luthor in the fact, because Lex Luthor in the comic books is freaking bald. Has a beard as well.
Yeah, it's like, bro, if I was bald with a beard and with these
The guy
eyebrows,
who played Mark Zuckerberg in what was it, like the Social Network, right? He played Lex Luthor in the DC film industry, right? It's amazing seeing that guy bald. It was funny seeing that guy bald compared to him.
I think the most my hairline just recede, but I don't think I'll be bald. Like, it won't recede in the back, but it's, my hairline will just be straight differently, but I don't think I'm gonna be bald. I think I'll still have
Yeah.
So
So who's our options for the next Labour PM? Because we know Starmer's getting ousted.
So it's between Angela Rayner, Wes Streeting, or
The
Rachel
rug
Reeves.
muncher. Who's the other
I think
option?
the third one is Rachel Reeves. Between her, Wes Streeting, and Angela Rayner.
I'd rather have fucking Andy Burnham than those two rug
Yeah,
munchers.
I'd say the same.
And even then, I'm not saying much about the guy. I don't think he's that great. I don't think
But at least he's doing something.
doing something. But how is it? The ironic thing is, I think there's enough cunts in this place that would probably put Sadiq Khan as our next PM. That's the thing. I'm sure there's enough idiots in the House of Commons and the MPs in a Labour seat that would be willing to fucking vote that cunt in. Which, only time will tell.
Yes, time will tell.
Really, the daddy of class family has reunited once more. This is just what I'm seeing on my Twitter.
Oh, just seeing this guy, like seeing what this guy did to this people, I'm starting to think we need that guy as a fucking as a fucking governor of California, Carl DeMaio.
You think so?
Yeah, the guy basically fucking exposed a fucking money laundering operation, supposedly. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that these people would money launder like freaking use foreign illegals as a way to get reimbursements. Oh,
What is it?
#51st state, here we come. God, I would love to be the 51st. God, I would love Scotland to be a state in America. It would be better than what we've got now. It would. Like, as much as I hate to say it, as much as they'll say, oh, but we'd still be better off than what we are now.
You
But
think?
you look at our economy and you look at freaking America's, we're a freaking tiny peanut in the sand. We'd be richer than half of most of Europe.
Probably. Who knows?
We would be. Like, at least under Trump, we'd be allowed to fucking drill our oil.
Yeah, that is true.
Now we can't even do that, and we've got tons of barrels that would freaking allow us to drill for the next 100 years, and yet they want to keep it capped. You've got Alberta that's got oil reserves that have never been fucking touched. Trillions of oil that would make them one of the top fucking players in the fucking world, Eric. And you've got idiots running that government in Canada that wouldn't even let them freaking won't let them drill. The fuck is this?